Hi there guys, welcome to this full moon energy, September 2025. So we have got a 6 card reading that came up for this full moon, and I'm going to do this slightly differently. I just had a couple of sessions that I did, one with a group of people that joined me for the full moon, and then we looked at the cards afterwards and we found deeper meanings as well. And then with my group of people who are doing my online course, the Fool's Love Journey, and both of those 2 sessions really brought more aspects of this reading into what it could be, and what might be a beautiful message for you all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my preliminary ideas, which are maybe a little bit chaotic, and maybe run through some of that recording that took place at the beginning of the full moon reading, that I just after I'd seen the cards and pulled them, my initial response. And then I'm going to give a little resume at the end of this, if you want to stay to the end and check it out, of more concise ideas, and just a very quick recap of what the cards may mean, but also adding on a few other interesting things that came up. If you want to join my full moon readings, by the way, and maybe even some of the new moon readings, get in touch with me. Drop me an email at the link below this video, and I'll throw you an invite when they come up. I hope you enjoy this, and I'd love to hear your comments afterwards.
One thing, I don't always, I kind of intuitively draw the amount of cards, and it's usually 3 or 4, and that's enough. Most of the people who have followed these new moon readings or full moon readings have seen that that's the case. We've got 6 cards today, which is a little bit different. And so that's, it's just what came out, and it's just what was asking to be seen. And I was like, really? And they go, yep. All right, so we'll have a look at these 6 cards. They're in a little triangle, so 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom. So I'll just show you the triangle first of all. Starting off with what I imagine is the primary card to look at, which is this 9 of Wands. Yeah. Followed by a pair of cards, which is the Empress and the 5 of Swords. Yeah. These 2 came out just below. And then the 3 below that are these 3 cards. So we've got Temperance, we've got Judgment reversed, and the King of Swords reversed. You see all that? Yeah. So imagine these guys sitting on the bottom of the other 2 that are sitting below the other one. Okay, so because there's lots of cards, and because I haven't even looked at this reading at all, what I'd like to do before we open up, just to share and a bit of discussion, and just to see what you guys think, I'd like to give you my just anything that comes as a first view, or a first perspective, or what I might call a more intuitive reading of the cards, without going into the deep logic of the story. So if you'd just like to just hear me out for this 10-15 minutes, and I'll just try and run through these cards. When you're listening, just maybe just see how you resonate in whatever way that might be, and see what feels right or not right. See what comes up in your minds as you're listening, and if there's anything that feels important that you want to share to the group, or share afterwards, or anything that reminded you of what's going on in your life right now, or what you feel is pertinent to this moment and wherever you are at, that's what we'd love to hear about afterwards. So just give me 10-15 minutes, and I'll run through a first look. And with the intention to share as much light and to bring as much clarity and love to anyone seeing this reading. And with the focus of sharing what might be honest, real, and inspirational in some way. So the first card of every reading will dictate the energy of this, or the mood, or the primary lesson, the primary experience. And this 9, I often call the wounded healer, because the guy is obviously wounded, and he's looking wearily at the 8 wands behind him as he's clutching strongly to his own. 9s are specifically cards of initiation. They test us. They're trials. They're trials of conviction in this case. And this 9 is very specifically a conviction of fire. So it's like a trial of fire that we have. And a trial of fire comes in many different ways. It's a test to see if we are really up for the job, up for the journey. It questions us and says, hey, do you really want to walk the path of the 10 wands? Are you ready? Are you ready to embrace fully where you are now in order that you can step forward consciously to the completion which comes afterwards? This is the question that all 9s asks. And this one specifically is asking about our purpose. It's asking about whether we're truly able to honor where we are, to recognize our flawed nature, to recognize how we have maybe been hurt and potentially hurt others in the past, how we are willing to embrace our failures, our injuries, our wounds, if you like. This is why it's called the wounded healer, or I call it the wounded healer. Because every person wanting to embody all 10 wands is taking on a big responsibility, and it's the responsibility of being a little bit more spiritually authentic. It's the responsibility of stepping it up, taking what you might feel is a sacred mission, or at least whatever the purpose of your life feels like, taking that purpose and holding on to it and really dedicating more time, effort, energy, and more of you to that process. And so this 9 questions whether you think you're ready or not. Questions whether you are willing to grasp and dive into this journey, even though you know you are not healed. Even though you know you are not the complete version of yourself, even though you experience yourself as being wounded, are you still willing to take some version of your purpose seriously? Are you able to accept your wounded nature and embrace it and appreciate it? Do your wounds always have to question what you should fear? There is a little bit of weariness or fear and anxiety in this card. And the anxiety may come for many different reasons in our life. It's asking us, hey, are we ready to step up and be the person that we would love to be more seriously, more honestly? Are we ready to embrace our failures and accept that they're all perfect and part of our journey and walk forward? Are we able to see the perfection of our imperfection? This card sits upon two more cards, which we'll look at together. The Empress and the Five of Swords. Two cards that don't normally sit side by side, or you wouldn't expect them to anyway. That five really questioning what's right or wrong, what's good or bad, what we feel we're ready to stand up and fight for, what we are consciously fighting against, how we might feel threatened, how we might feel attacked, next to a queen or even an empress who is so welcoming and embracing into life everything that life has to offer. So open to see the love and the joy and the pleasure in everything that she can even sit side by side to what might feel like a conflict. Maybe an inner conflict, maybe an outer conflict, maybe both. And she welcomes that in as a valuable, constructive energy for growth. She welcomes in the conflict. She welcomes in the defeat that's in that five, as well as the success. She welcomes in that struggle that we might find with our own thoughts and our own minds. She welcomes the experience as part of her abundance, as part of her abundant experience on this earth. As the earth goddess, she has to embrace both sides of each sword. She has to embrace the duality of winning and losing, of being right and wrong at the same time. She has to be herself in that receptivity and say, yeah, if there's going to be conflict, if there has to be conflict, if that's part of this journey, then I accept it. She doesn't choose to be selective about what is right or wrong. She accepts that people need to experience loss. People need to experience failure. People need to experience surrender, giving up, letting go. People need to experience how small they are, just in the same way that they need to experience winning, success, how big they can pretend to be, how right they are, what being a winner means. She doesn't sit with duality, this Empress. She's not worried about duality. She doesn't even see it. She doesn't see that there are three different figures in that picture, she welcomes them all and loves them all. She welcomes that part of us, or she is that part of us that welcomes our failures and welcomes our successes, that welcomes when we think we're doing the right thing, and she welcomes us when we think we're doing the wrong thing. She welcomes us when we're incredibly judgmental towards the world and when we're not, or when we're just judgmental towards ourselves. She welcomes every experience as a valid one. And she's that part of us that shines this vibration of love no matter what. This vibration of acceptance no matter how much trauma we're experiencing for ourselves. When we are faced as the Nine of Wands with the question of whether we think we're ready or not, whether we should hesitate a little bit more, whether we've got to do this and got to do that before we're quite ready, whether we're not quite there yet, but sometime in the future I will. When we're faced with that hesitation, and the mind's trying to figure out, wow, what's the right choice? What am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Am I a loser? Am I a winner? Do I need to be a winner in order to say yes to this? She says no. She is the guidance that says, you're perfect just the way you are. She sees the perfection. She sees the love in the pain. She sees the love in what we might judge as both good and bad. And then we have these three cards at the bottom, which sit under those two. That present, maybe it seems a slightly more complex journey. Let's have a look. Starting with the Temperance card. And the Judgment reversed. And the King of Swords reversed, that sit together. Three major arcana cards in this reading. And these two upright cards of Temperance and the Empress speak about clear messages. The Empress speaking about this openness and this willingness to accept and to embrace life, to embrace where you are, to recognize how beautiful this place is, even if you are experiencing something not so beautiful. Temperance comes along and says, okay, where are you standing? What are you doing with your life? What have you come to share? Temperance card is one of the cards of channeled guidance that we need to embody inside of ourselves when we need to find our path. Temperance comes up to say, you have this ability to find your way, to work through your problems. You have this connection to the divine, to this angelic guidance. You have it. You've known it. You've known it not once, you've known it many, many times. It's not new to you. It's not something that you are here to discover. You've experienced more than once in many different ways what being guided from your higher vibrational self actually feels like, looks like. is like in your life. You've experienced it many times. You may have forgotten it. You may have doubted it. You may have lost that connection from time to time, but you know it. Temperance comes to say, you know what that light, that beam of light feels like. It's not something that you need to find for the first time. It's something that you need to remember over and over and over again. And you need to pour your soul into it. You need to keep that honest connection to that subconscious part of yourself. Keep your inner and outer worlds connected. What does that actually mean? It just means that you're not focused just on one thing. You're not focused on one side of any story. You're not focused just on the outer world, but you've got your foot in the collective conscious. Part of her message speaks about, and I say it's a she, but it's really sexless. Part of the temperance message speaks about our ability to know what is honestly true, real, and valid in our life right here, right now. She speaks about our ability or our conscious connection to everybody. And that's something that we forget. We find ourselves coming back over and over and over again to our individuality, to our little me body. Oh, but I'm like this. Oh, I, non-stop me, non-stop I. We speak about ourselves as being separate beings. She is the consciousness that we are connected. And we know that. We kind of know it intuitively. We might even recognize it logically, but we don't remember it daily. We don't think about it hourly. We don't live that minute by minute, second by second. Because our senses are focused on the outer world, and all they are telling us is that's out there, and that's not what is in here. And in here is separate from out there. And our addiction to our senses is what breaks our ability or hinders our ability to remember how connected to the collective, how connected to the higher wisdom we actually are. She's come here, this angelic force has come to remind us and say, hey, we are always connected. We know we're on the path. We know we can't be off our path. We might think we can't. We might get caught up in the mind of the Five of Swords and think, wow, I'm not walking my walk. I'm not doing what I should be. But we're wrong. And she knows that there's no deviation from this path. There is just a lack of remembering. And the Judgment card speaks even stronger about this lack of remembering. It's as if that same angel is now blowing a trumpet and saying, come on, wake up. This is about red pill as you can get. Do you want to pop that red pill? Do you want to wake up to your truth, to your reality? Do you want to see who you really are? Do you want to die to your old self? There's a natural resistance to doing this. There's a natural desire to hold on to the pain of the Nine of wands speaking about our wounds of the past. There's a natural desire to hold on to the judgment of the Five of Swords, how we're very stuck in the idea of right, wrong, good and bad. There's a strong attachment to ideas that keep us trapped in the past and unable to recognize our higher truth, unable to wake up to the matrix that we have co-created in our life. And the judgment card speaks about this wake-up call. It's a wake-up call that wakes us up to the 10 wands that we want to move through the initiation of the 9. And it's questioning us and it's saying, hey, do we want to wake up? Do we want to stay asleep? This is the resurrection. This is the resurrection of Christ. Everybody speaks in a lot of Christian religion as of the Christ figure as sacrificing himself for our sins. But the real message of Christ is he sacrificed himself so that he could wake up, so that he could be born into the light. And it's a symbolic message. And finally, the king, at the end of this reading, again upside down, asks us the question, what message are we throwing out there to the world? What truths are we holding on to so severely, so with such determination? What ideas and beliefs are so important to us that they keep us confused and they keep us in fear and they keep us in doubt and they hold us back from waking up? What ideas are so important that we are sharing truths which do not resonate with our heart or with the higher vibrational angelic consciousness in our lives? What, and this is not, it's not a question that is coming up to ridicule what we might believe in. It's not a question that's coming up to shed doubt on our ideas or on our mental creativity, but it is a card which questions, hey, what are we putting out there? Are we sharing the ideas that we fundamentally believe in on a heart's level? Or is this just mental stuff that we're throwing out there? In a way, playing mental games and voicing ideas that actually don't mean very much at all. Are we sharing thoughts which hold us back from knowing how connected we are? Are we holding on to beliefs that block our ability to hear the call of spirit, the call of God, the call of the angel, the archangel? It's the last card in this reading, and in a way it holds a little bit of power, simply because it says that what we are sharing belief-wise with the world, how we learn to put boundaries on our own belief system, is something that we are still here to work on. this king, when he's the right way up, has great capability to choose what he thinks. But when he's reversed, he might be fanatical about what he believes in, but he's lost that autonomous choice. He's not being the leader he was born to be, the leader of high vibrational thought. He's just holding on to the same thoughts, the same beliefs that he has been taught, that come from an older version of ourselves, come from a version of ourselves that is trapped in the fighting of the other, that is busy squabbling over righteousness and self-righteousness, that is too busy squabbling over self-righteousness that we've forgotten, hey, what are we here doing? What's my purpose again? And do I want to walk my walk? Do I feel that's important? Am I holding on to the ideas of my wounds more than the ideas of why I'm really here to express myself, to share the light, to embrace the abundance of the experience that this 3D reality allows me to have? And the questions continue. And it brings us back to this initial question. Of the wounded healer. Are we more attached to being wounded or to being whole, to being healed?
So hi there guys, I hope you enjoyed that preliminary look at the cards. So let's just dive in one last time and make a little concise resume about this whole story. Here we are focusing on our wounds, and this came up as a topic of conversation with my group just now. Here we are asking, and somebody asked the question, and a very valid question, are my wounds ever going to get healed? Am I ever going to feel that this emptiness or this childhood trauma story is ever going to feel like it's healed? And it's such a valid question. And this being the wounded healer, it's all about that. And in a way, this card asks us to ask this same question. Are we ever going to get healed? Part of our mind might say yes, part of our mind might say no. There's this dynamic in the mind that we're very fixated on the idea, oh yeah, we should be we're either healed or we're not healed. And that's the way it is. And healing feels like this, and not healing feels like that, and we're experiencing one and the other. The Empress comes along and just says, actually, no. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about wounds that are terrible and wounding experiences that are the worst thing in the world. It's not about that. She says that all of our life experiences, every single one of them, even the ones that have been the core traumas of our existence, they're all us choosing to experience something that we have come here not just to experience, but to transform and transcend. We haven't come here to focus on our wounds and wallow in the victim mentality of how traumatic our past has been. We've come to experience the inherited trauma of our forefathers and learn to see that it's our job to love that experience. Not love it because it's great. Love it because it's a valid expression of how divided and how separate we are from source, from spirit, from all, from love itself. And she comes along and says, no, you're not separate from love. Even with all this trauma, you're not separate from love. Even with this mentality that, oh yes, we must be. It's either right, wrong, good or bad type story. These experiences are not good or bad. They're neither. We can love them all. They are valid. They are valid for us to take. They're valid, a valid part of our spiritual journey. We've come here to experience the wounding so that we can reflect the transformation back to the world and show the world an example of what connecting with our light, our fire actually looks like. Not being afraid of the fire around us that might burn us, the fire of others, but grabbing it all, welcoming as much light into our lives as possible, taking that and loving the opportunity and the experience to do so, loving the woundedness that we can own and recognize is not the most victim orientated, dramatic and drastic experience, but it is an opportunity to choose love, an opportunity to choose light, an opportunity to choose ourselves, to choose God, to choose oneness. This is that eternal balance that we're looking for. This is the temperance that's saying, hey, just take this experience, mix it into your subconscious, look from a different perspective, look from the collective, be that beautiful example to the collective world about how balanced you can be in this framework of trauma, in this framework of victim mentality, in this framework of needing healing. Show the world how beautiful you can be. Show the world the path to the light. Show the world and show that world how to recognize how trapped we are in our own minds about that really blocks our awakening. I see this card, and I saw this card just recently as the red pill awakening of the matrix into reality. Are we going to hear the calling, or are we going to focus on our wounds so strongly? Are we mentally strong enough to change our mind about the idea about what our trauma and our healing is all about? Are we able to reframe in our minds, turn around the way we see our trauma so that we can wake up? Because if we're stuck in this idea that we are traumatically injured and will never heal, then we're just feeding our individual separate identity. We're just strengthening the idea that I am not one with the collective, one with God, one with spirit, one with source, one with love. And if we're strengthening the idea that I am not love, then we're moving further away from it. And that's what we've come here, as the Empress says. We've come here to remember that we are love, to remember the compassion that we can have to our healing. And the compassion starts with changing our mind about it. Stop making it drastically important. Stop making it the worst thing in the world. Start just very simply reframing it and seeing it for what it is. It is an inherited story that's been passed down to you so that you can shift and transform and change it. Be that example to the world. Live your life in balanced harmony and encourage the world to move out of their single-minded way of thinking and wake up to the true essence of themselves, which is love. Have a wonderful day.